And it's got them floating around carrying heads because they believe they're going to be part of the angelic attack on America. They're going to have superpowers. That's why they're flying, and especially who are white. And it's got them floating around carrying heads because they believe they're going to be part of the angelic attack on America. They're going to have superpowers. That's why they're flying, and they're going to finally get revenge on Edomites, especially who are white people and Jews. And other nations like the Arabs are going to get it too, but they're the first off. So they got poor little Timmy by the neck there. You know? Another extreme example: all nations shall bow down to the Israelite black man. Oh.
And that's another thing too. They label us extreme, and when labeling us extreme, that's just another buzzword. Oh, you're extreme. You're on the fringes of religious worship and ideology. Right? They don't call the small hats who literally are underground in different cities like New York City doing Lord knows what, right? Worshiping their idols and doing the things that these small hats do. You see it, right? They don't call them extreme, but because we believe what we believe in, we believe that we're the Israelites through faith and through the Spirit of the Lord. This guy has a problem with it, right? He has a problem with the judgment that's coming. Mind you, these nations, they had us in all kinds of captivity. They did what they wanted with us, right? But now that retribution is coming via Yahweh Shai, his Heavenly Father Yahweh, his only begotten Son Yahweh Shai, and a heavenly host of angels, they don't believe this. Like they look at the UFOs and these guys are just crackpots, right? They believe they're gonna have superpowers. Well, we not only believe it, it's said, it's written. It's written in the scriptures that we're gonna have superpowers. It's called spiritual power for a reason. All right. But again, this guy is set up to accuse us, right? Let me keep playing.
Part of the angelic, and it's got them floating around carrying heads because they believe they're going to be part of the angelic attack on America. They're going to have superpowers. That's why they're flying, and they're going to finally get revenge on Edomites, especially who were white people and Jews. And other nations like the Arabs are going to get it too, but they're the first off. So they got poor little Timmy by the neck there. Another extreme example, all nations shall bow down to the Israelite black man. Oh, yes. Even the proud white man who is the GD devil that the Bible speaks of. You got the UFOs there again.
You laugh.
The guy in the S&M is intriguing.
Shaft!
You see?
Yep, you see the Jews are in the front bowing down. And
so
the white man's destiny, according to the Holy Bible.
He believes that these are the Jews. You see the Jews. He said, you see the Jews over there bowing down. But these people are not the Lord's people. He can't prove it, but he never will come up against them. All the wickedness that they do, that they're doing, all the wickedness that the Catholic Church, Christianity is into, you never see this guy protesting them. He's not trying to defame them. He's not trying to refute their claim to be the Lord's people. But when it comes to us, it's a problem. And it's because this dude's an accuser, right? This dude, he's a guy, one of the people that is set up to accuse us as to label us as fake, right? Label us as fake. And this dude's a faithless dude. He got to be an Edomite, bro. Right? Yahweh Shai said in the scriptures that what? The things that I do, you shall do and greater. When he was healing people, walking on the water, when he walked on water, when he disappeared, even the transfiguration, even when he came back after his resurrection, after he was resurrected, he was able to change his image. That's spiritual powers, bro. Yahweh Shai said, all these things that I do, ye shall do, and what? In greater. And greater. Right? But they don't look at the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American man as somebody that's the deserving of power. Right? One of the bros had posted something up on the comment board. My question is, if they believe everything we're saying is false and made up, why are they so enamored? Why are they so worried? Yeah, because they worried because they know what we say is true, right? Or concerned, cared about what we believe in if they believe it's false. Exactly. Well, because again, this dude, he's set up to be an accuser. He's set up to be a stumbling block for the unlearned. He's set up to be a menace, and he's set up to be a frustrator of the work. Basically, they're scared because they know everything we're saying is true. They're trying to discourage other people. It's not going to work, right? Because as the scripture says, if it were at all possible, they will deceive the very elect, but it's not possible. And that's what he wants to do. He don't want you to believe that you're going to get spiritual power. He don't want you to believe that the chariots of Israel, which they call UFOs in this world, are coming back for us to defend us and destroy our enemies. He don't want us to believe that the nations will bow down. The scriptures say all throughout the scriptures how the nations going to bow down, how they're going to be brought in chains. It says that, but they don't apply to us. It applies to the so-called white man, so-called small hats.
You got the UFOs. First off. So they got poor little Timmy by the neck there. Another extreme example, all nations shall bow down to the Israelite black man. Oh, yes. Even the proud white man who is the GD.
And we're not black. And there is no white man. We're the Israelites from the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Issachar, Manasseh, Gad, Zebulun, etc., etc. Right? Again, this is accusations because no one can never see a so-called black or Latino man having power and people bowing down to him. No one ever wants to see that. Everybody can be an Israelite except us. Why is it so impossible or implausible that we are the sons of the power? Why? And like the brother said, if you don't believe what we believe in, why are you trying to frustrate it? That's because he's set up to be a slanderer. He's set up to be an accuser. And he's going to be the guy they're going to call the foremost intellectual on the Israelites, particularly the One West Israelites. I guarantee you, don't be surprised to see this dude face on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, something where once they start accusing us and persecuting us, all these this is what they believe in. They're so crazy.
Devil that the Bible speaks of. You got the UFOs there again.
The guy in the S&M is intriguing.
Shaft.
You see how they laugh at him?
Yep. You see the Jews are in the front bowing down.
See,
the white men.
You don't say nothing about them. The Jews. You see, how are they the Jews? How are they the Lord's people? What are they doing? I'm gonna get some precepts, but I'm gonna let it play.
His destiny according to the Holy Bible. What is it? Well, you're going to be chains, including the babies. Or just a quick question: what's the baby going to do for you? I can't even get my kids to clean their room. You think a baby's going to be a very good servant? You have to take care of the baby. Just saying.
And we're going to show you how such a hypocrite this motherfucker is. Because they literally had us and our babies in captivity. And we're going to show it. We're going to show it. They had our children and literal babies, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5-year-old babies working. You had to be a babysitter. How can a 2-year-old babysit an infant? It's a 2-year-old. But guess what? That's what Esau had us doing. Esau worked us. There's an image of a baby, a little kid in the field on a cotton field working. Right? There's a picture of him. The dude had to be no more than right here. Look at these kids. These are babies. In this world, this would be considered a baby. Right? I'm gonna show it to you, but check this shit out, man. These people, this dude's a fucking hypocrite, bro. What did a baby do? I can't even get my kids to clean their room because they're Edomites and they're rebellious, right? So hold on. Let me share this image right here. I'll go back to that in a second. Check this out, man. Right? So look at this. These are children in the cotton fields, right? Particularly this one right here. A child picking cotton in the 1940s. This is after chattel slavery was so-called ended during sharecropping times. 5-year-old children. This little dude got to be no older than 2, maybe 3, and he had to pick cotton. He had to pick cotton, bro. You know what I'm saying? He had to pick cotton. And these other nations ain't been through no shit like that. They had the little kids in the sugarcane fields working from can't see in the morning to can't see at night. But it's implausible for the Edomites and the other nations, whether it's their adults or their children, to go into captivity. That's implausible. Oh, what did a baby do? Well, ask that question about our people. What did our babies do? Right? I asked the question. In the Americas, what was the youngest an enslaved child could be put to work? In the Americas, enslaved children were put to work as toddlers. As toddlers. How old is a toddler? How old is a toddler? A toddler is 1 to 3 years old. That ugly Edomite baby was about 1 and 3 years old. At 1 year old, you had to work, bro. Can you imagine? 1 year old working. Slavery. In the Americas, enslaved children were put to work as toddlers sometimes as early as 2 or 3 years old. 2 or 3 years old. And this is an example right here. This is an example of, come on, bro, with the bullshit. This is an example of, right here. This is an example right here of a 3-year-old working in the cotton fields. And this was during sharecropping days. Imagine if it was chattel slavery, when chattel slavery was around. Look at these little kids, right? They're able to walk, they can work. That was Esau mentality. A child picking cotton in the 1940s, bro. Look how sad this little baby. This is an Israelite child, right? In captivity. Let's go back to this, man. You know, Esau's he's a hypocrite, bro. He's a hypocrite. That's how we know VOCAB Malone. Another reason why VOCAB Malone is a hypocrite, man. Let me go back to this. Where is that? And the America. So it says early childhood labor, ages 2 to 5. Can you imagine a 2 to 5 year old working out in heat, exhaustion, with a fucking cotton bag on his back, his or her back? A 2-year-old, bro. A child care. Toddlers were frequently assigned to watch infants, even younger children, to allow adult parents to return to the fields. How can you let a 2-year-old or a 5-year-old watch a child? They're kids. Estate maintenance. Children were forced to collect trash, gather kindling wood, and sweep yards. Agricultural assistants. Very young children were given tasks like plucking grubs or worms off plants, weeding gardens, and skin. And that's why you nations gonna pay. Sloppy. Yeah, no, baby. All right. It's lucky about that, brothers. I had to go do something. So anyway, it says agricultural assistants. Very young children were given tasks like plucking grubs, worms off plants, and weeding gardens, and scaring birds away from growing crops. The transition to organized work, 5 to 7. You can't put a 5-year-old to work or a 7-year-old to work today. Trash gangs. By the age of 5 to 7, children were often organized into formal work groups known as trash gangs and quarter hands. Water toting. They were forced to haul heavy buckets of water out to adults, laborers working in the fields. Children tended small animals, minded fires, assisted domestic house slaves with kitchen chores, and the list goes on. But this guy, VOCAB Malone, he gonna ask the question, what did a baby do? Well, why is the baby going into captivity? Why does the baby have chains on his neck? Because it's an Edomite. That's why. And it's judgment. Okay, that's why. Right? Same thing gonna happen to you when you come back into captivity. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have chains on your neck, man. All right.
According to the Holy Bible. What is it? Well, you're going to be chains, including the babies.
That's right.
Or just a quick question: what's a baby going to do for you?
Well, ask Esau that. What did our babies do for him? They had to work.
I can't even get my kids to clean their room. You think a baby's going to be a very good servant? You have to take care of the baby. Just saying, you know. But last thing we're going to look at in regards to the Hebrews lights. And remember, not all believe what I just showed you. This is the extreme version. But the guys out on the street,
This is the extreme version. That's what he said. The extreme version.
usually are the extreme ones. It's the ones who are on the street who are a little more moderate, so-called.
Well, we're supposed to be out on the highways and hedges preaching his word. Right? We're supposed to be out here doing his work. We're supposed to be out there on the highways and hedges. Right? And that's what they want they want these Edomites to see when they see Jake out there preaching. Oh, those are the extreme guys. They're extreme. Right? Those buzzwords. To be extreme is a buzzword in this society. Right? So
And it's
again,
got them floating around.
this is all his disbelief. So I'm done with the video. Let me share another screen. Right? Because what this guy is doing is accusing us for even believing in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, believing that we're the children of Israel, believing that the Lord's word applies to us. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our power, in the power of his anointing. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before the Most High day and night. Now these Edomites, they have priests on the left-hand side that do this. They accuse us for going off, for breaking the Lord's law, for committing sin, as if they're not pushing it and forwarding it. There's another precept that lines up with this, Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 15. Habakkuk 2 and 15. Right? It says, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth the bottle to him, that maketh him drunken, also that thou mayest look on their nakedness. And that's what Esau does when, as in his system that we live in. It's a wholesale sin and iniquity system based society, right? And they have Jake going off. They hypnotize Jake to go off. They feed Jake's rebellious spirit and undisciplined mindset. And they feed you all of this stuff, and they call it normality. They make it normal. They make it normal to be to rebel against the Holy Spirit. They make it normal to rebel against Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They make it normal to be a mo or a lesbian or a tranny or a drug dealer. That's normal. It's okay. You just go to jail. You sold dope. You killed your people. You basically was a warlock or a witch, right? This concoction, and you was all prideful minded about yourself, worried about your own personal profits. You profiteered off the destruction of the Lord's people, and then you get out of prison and you could just tell your story and be on Twitch all goddamn day or Kick all day talking about the heyday of your wickedness, man. That's normal in this society. A drug dealer gets more respect than a man of wisdom that is poor, an athlete or entertainer. All these motherfuckers are Satanists. When they talk about believing in God, they're not talking about Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They're talking about Satan, because they get all those gifts, but they don't realize those gifts still come from Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and Satan worked for Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Right? And so what this dude does is he had Jake wholesale sinning, and then they go back to the Most High and they accuse us. right? This is in the chat GPT, right? In the chat GPT, right here, it says right here, the Messiah receives authority from the Most High throughout the New Testament. The Father grants authority to the Son. See Matthew 28 and 18, 1 Corinthians 15, 24, 28, Revelations 12 and 10. Maintains that distinction by speaking of our God and his anointed. For the accuser of our brother is cast down. This explains why they're rejoicing. And we will rejoice when Esau, his system, and all these devils are destroyed. Right? The language echoes passages like Job 1 and 2, where Satan accuses Job before the Most High. Zechariah 3, 1 through 2, where Satan stands to accuse Joshua, the high priest. His role is to accuse God's people, to point to their sins and argue against them. And that's what VOCAB Malone is doing. When you go to VOCAB Malone's page,
what does that mean?
It's overly going for sure. It's overly going. We knowing everything.
Slocky. When you go to VOCAB Malone's page, right, what is he doing? All he does is accuse us. It's filled with Israelite confrontation videos. Right? It's filled with Israelite. He goes to different camps, whether it's Great Millstone or IUIC, ISUPK. Right? Here it is right here. Understanding the Moors Nation Islam Israelites, which Nuwabians are 5%ers. We're not Islam. We're not Moors. We're not 5%ers. The MySpace cult. That's what you see. This is what he does. He started with the Muslim shit, and then he flipped to the Israelite thing. Right? Anti-Semitism, Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Right? All his videos are either supposedly mimicking, basically, what do you call it? Shit, demonizing Islam and Israelites' beliefs, which we're not Muslims, but they're trying to associate us with them. Most of his videos are about what? Hebrew Israelites, though. He got a couple of Islamic videos out there, but he mainly comes against the Israelites. That's what he does. This is his bread and butter. This would keep him paid from them Edomites, and then pushing white supremacy. Right? That's what he does. Denouncing that we could never be the Lord's people. Why us? That's his mindset. That's his mindset. Why are y'all God's chosen people? And why are you look, the words that you use so harsh? You're gonna put these people in slavery? You're damn right. The scriptures say they're going into captivity. The scriptures say that their children are going to be dashed to pieces. They did it to ours. This is Psalms 137 and 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom. He wants you, VOCAB Malone wants the people, wants people and weak Israelite-minded men to believe that the Edomites don't exist no more. They're done away with. We're in a whole new world. We're not even in a biblical times, but yet he's talking about the Bible. Right? Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, race it, even to the foundation thereof. Right? They when the Babylonians came in, they told them destroy the land to the ground. And that's what we're going to be saying to you Edomites, when Yahweh Shah destroys America. Spiritual Edom. He going to spiritual Sodom and Egypt, Babylon the Great. We're going to race it, Lord. Destroy it. A ball. That's right. Right? O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. Happy shall he be. Who's the daughter of Babylon? America. Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Right? And that's going to be Yahweh Shah. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. And when you read this in the NLT, right, it says this in the NLT: happy is the one who takes your babies and smash them against rocks. Oh, you can't say that. That's too much. Why would you say that? No, but wait a minute. It was okay when you had our children as alligator bait, and then you made fun of it. You put it on your different advertisements. They try to make it seem like this never happened, or it just wasn't widespread. But there's not only stories, but also too backstories where it really happened. Right? They call you. They were selling licorice drops, and they put the little African licorice drops, an Israelite baby and an alligator following him. Right? You got illustrations of racist postcards, right, in Florida. How slaves, what this says? It says how the great grandson of a slave pushed Florida to end gator bait, the gator bait chair. Oh man, it's always something. I want to see if I can find this. Come on, brother. Come on, man. Yeah. How the great grandson of a slave pushed Florida to end the gator bait chair. We read 198 pages of records to get an inside look at how and why the Florida Gators ended the famed football chair in June. When Leonard Spearman heard the racist history of the phrase gator bait years ago, he was upset at its association with the alma mater, the University of Florida. He couldn't shake the disturbing images of postcards of black babies, Israelite babies, being used as alligator lures, even if there was no direct connection between them and the school's well-known chair. Right? So, listen, bro, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make it. This is the stuff that our people had to endure. Right? Did you know in Florida during slavery, slave masters would take enslaved black children, tie a rope around his or her legs, put them in the water, and use them for, and they want you to believe that this didn't happen, use them for alligator bait. 2 movies in the 1900, Alligator Bait and Gator, the Pickaninny, both showed improved this. You see, alligator bait, also known as gator bait, is the practice of using little black children as bait to catch alligators. Right? And it's crazy how these nations do whatever they want to us. But when we talk about, we just put a poster together of illustration, a small illustration of the chariots of Jake with spiritual power and having our hand around the necks of our enemies. That's too much. Oh, that's extreme. But you motherfuckers was advertising killing our children. And this ain't the first time they did it. Antiochus Epiphanes did what? He hung our children because they were our sons, because they were what? Getting circumcised, their mothers circumcised. And then he killed the mothers, all because we were following our laws. But nobody cares about that. It's okay. Oh, when you have a white baby, what did the baby do? What can the baby do? Right? Alligator bait. It says done during slave times in Florida and Louisiana and other parts of American South. Now the fake Indians are now claiming they were fed to alligators and put into slavery. Do this look like Asians, Spaniards, or Europeans? Well, I don't know about the fake Indians, but Gad probably went through it too. They was getting scalped. Shit. You know what I'm saying? There's a matter of fact, I follow this guy. Well, I'll follow him. I'm gonna hope to go to this museum, lest we forget, museum in Philadelphia. And the owner of the Lest We Forget Museum in Philadelphia, he spoke about this. This is the owner of it right here. And he spoke about how he gathered up all of the different things to use. How he gathered up all these different things from around the country, and the gator bait, all of that. He had stories, and people's parents told him stories. Edomite children told him stories about these things happening. Right? So yeah, this gentleman right here, I'm not sure if he's still alive, but I definitely want to go to that museum, Lord willing, next time I go home. Right? Because this guy, he has a swath of information, and not only that, artifacts of what they did to our people, right? Of what they did to us. unpopular Philadelphia museum, the least popular museums in Philadelphia. And that's because it tells the truth. It tells the truth. The Lest We Forget Museum tells the truth of what the wickedness that Esau has done to our people while trying to erase what they did. Right here it is. Lest We Forget Black History. This is it right here.
With him. I said, what do you mean babies? He says, well, let me tell you. He said the slave babies, the slaves who had babies, they would steal the babies during the course of the day. Sometimes when the mothers weren't washing. I said, what do you mean babies? I said, you mean babies like 5 or 6 years old? He says, no. These babies, some would be infants, some would be a year old. He said some would be toddlers. He said they would grab these children and take them down to the swamp and leave them in pens like little chicken coops. They would go down there at night, take these babies and tie them up because they hunted the big bull alligators. These big bull alligators were not raised on farms. They were in the wild. These alligators would weigh 600, 700, 800 pounds. Those are the ones they wanted. They would skin them, make the wallets, get the meat, do different things with them. He said, but what they were doing was tie them up, put a rope around their neck and around their torso, around here, and tie it tight. He said, the baby, I said, well, what would the babies be doing? He said, well, my grandfather said they'd be screaming. He said, what would you do? He said, just let them scream. He said, what they would do, it would help them to chum the water. He said, when they would throw the babies in tied to this rope, he said, in a matter of minutes, he said, the alligators were on them. He said the alligators would clamp his jaws on that child. As a matter of fact, once he clamped on him, he was really swallowed. You couldn't see anything but the rope. And we would pull the alligator in and tie his nose and hit him in the head with an axe, a pickaxe. He said we would then drag him to the shore. We'd drag him to the shore and leave him lay, and we would do it again, maybe 2 or 3 times a night. He said, I said, so what do you mean? He said, well, yeah, they were taking these babies and killing them for alligator bait.
Murder.
I said, so all these things I've been collecting, all these things I've been collecting are really, really something that I can really talk about and say they are the truth by what you say. He said, I'm telling you, he said, nobody wants to talk about it. He said, I'm only telling you because you're here. I may never hear from you again. He said, but these things actually depict the acts that they did to slave babies back in the Bayou country and down the South. They did this. They hunted alligators with these babies. That's why they call alligator bait.
And that's why you Edomites gonna fucking pay. Right? You're gonna be cast down. Right? So this is 2 Thessalonians 1:6. Seeing it as a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. It's a righteous thing, but VOCAB Malone, he doesn't want payback. VOCAB Malone, he doesn't want to see the Lord come back and destroy his enemies. VOCAB Malone, he wants you to believe that the Heavenly Father is a white man. His only begotten Son is a white man. And his people are so-called white people, right? He wants you to believe that. They want you to believe that what we're saying is what is it? Absurd. But if it's so absurd, then why you spending your life? Why is it your life mission to try to tear down what Yahweh Shalom Shah is building, and then associate us with these fringe groups like the Moorish Science Temple Science, the Muslims, the Nuwabians, and 5%ers. The 5%ers. Why? Because this dude, this guy's a slanderer, man. This guy is a slanderer. He's a liar. He's a warlock, a witch for the super elite, right? He's the guy on the ground, right? Hebrew Israelism timeline. He got the timeline and everything, according to him.
Actually, it morphed into Black Judaism. So this is the 1889, but in 1919, you have a guy that basically anointed himself as a rabbi, and they started a group called the Commandment Keepers. So they dropped the New Testament. Then later on, you get in 1969, since the guys you're most likely to bondage. So that's how he began. And then offshoots came out of that. For example, one called the Independent Church of God. And notice what the subtitle is of this book, published in 1925, of the Judah tribe of Israel, the Black Jews. So you get Deuteronomy 28 used here as a proof text at this point. This is kind of like the John 3:16 of Hebrew Israelism.
No, it's not the John 3:16. It's Hebrewism. It's the truth. It's the truth, man. The spirit of truth. That's the spirit of the Most High. That's the spirit of Yahweh Shai. Right? It bear witness with our spirit that what we are the sons of the living power. This is the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 16. The spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the what? The sons, the children of the Most High. Right? In the NLT it says, for the spirit joins with our spirit to affirm that we are the Most High's children. But they say we ain't, like it says in Hosea, in the place where it was said, ye are not, well, I'll get it. Hosea 1 and 9. We're here to teach. Hosea 1 and 9. Hosea 1 and 9 says what? Then said the Most High, then said the Heavenly Father, call his name Lord me, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your power. Verse 10, yet the number of the sons of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power. Where is the place that they're saying that we're not the Lord's people? Here in America, mainly here in America, right? Where who's telling us that we are the Lord's people? The apostles, the bishop elders of Great Millstone, and even before them, the their teachers, Slakia, Abba Bivens, King Masha, Elder Yaqua, Elder High Priest Ariyah, right? Elder Shar, then you got the apostles, right? And it ain't just us. You got other groups like IUIC telling Jake that you're the Israelites, HOI telling Jake that you're the Israelites, right? Okay, and other groups, all right?
The men down here are still alive, except for the one in yellow. He died on the one in yellow. He died of COVID on April 1st, 2020, after he had declared himself to be the God-sent comforter. Not immediately after he had called himself.
And they use these things that when you see certain false prophets be raised up, they use them as another reason to accuse us to defame. But like Yahweh Bashim Shai said in the scriptures, this is 1 Corinthians 4:13. Being defamed, we entreat. We are made as the filth of the world, and are the offscouring of all things unto this day. You see, you Negroes, Latinos, you're not the Lord's people. How could you be the Lord's people? You guys are crazy. You're insane. You're following a cult, right? You're gone. You're wow. You're nothing, right? I write not these things to shame you, but as my beloved sons, I warn you. The apostles went through this in the ancient world. For though ye have 10,000 instructors in Hamashiach, yet have ye not many fathers. For in Hamashiach Yahushua, I have begotten you through the gospel. Right? So here it is. We're made the worst thing ever. Right? We ain't killing nobody. We ain't destroying nobody. We ain't stealing nobody land. We ain't raping people. I don't care what them other camps say. We ain't doing none of that shit. We ain't lying. We ain't stealing. We ain't cheating. We fearing Yahweh Shai, keeping his law to the best of our ability, prophesying and preaching, and that's too much for Esau. Right? We appeal gently when evil things are said about us. And that's what you don't see the apostles lining up to take this guy out. You don't see the apostles saying, hey man, you got to go mount up for us. No. What happens when this happens to us? We entreat gently. Right? We appeal gently. We speaking. Hey, look, we the people of the Lord. Hey, ignore VOCAB MALONE. He's part of Persona non grata. Yet we are treated like the world's garbage. Right? You see that? We're treated like the world's garbage. These filthy black Latino men, Native American men, they can't be the Lord's people. Look what they are. They're slaves. They're nobodies. And now they're even crazier. They're talking about UFOs. They're talking about spiritual power. They're talking about getting payback on their enemies, the so-called white man, the Arabs, and all the other nations. But the scriptures say everything we're saying, the scriptures back up what we're saying. It's a part of prophecy. Right? It's a part of prophecy. But you don't want to receive it because you can't receive it. We appeal gently when evil things are said about us, yet we are treated like the world's garbage, like everybody's trash. right up to the present moment. You see? And this is an example of that. This is an example of that.
The God sent comforter a decade or so earlier, but that's what happened to Tazadakia. Now, their school went to a place in Harlem at 1 West 125th Street. If you look at the top of that picture, you can see where I am at 1 West 125th Street. So I went to where their school was in Harlem. Now, it's no longer one of their schools, but because of this address, we as apologists who study this movement refer to Hebraisites who have certain theological distinctives as one Westers, or they follow one Westism. Because remember I showed you
he don't come at the small hats. He comes at the so-called one Westers. That's what he set up to do, because that's where the truth came out. That's where the truth came from. So he's here to set up against the truth. That's what he's here to do.
For the rabbi guy earlier, we're not really talking about that type of Hebraism. We're mainly today focused on one West style.
Because that's where the truth is. Why one West? Why not the other ones? All we doing is sit out there preaching on the highways and hedges as we were told to. Why is that? Marcus, ex-IUIC VA leader, Christian ex-pastor Mason, brother Boring. Come on, man.
Healthy, but there are exceptions. For example, this gentleman that I'm with, the one on the far end, not the other two gentlemen, he was actually a leader for 7 years, and him and his brother left it around at the same time, and his brother became an atheist, and he became a born again.
Oh, them niggas went back into the world. His brother became an atheist, and then the other one became a Christian. Come on, bruh. You through. And again, what is Christianity? White supremacy. You see the Edomite up there. They love this image. The world will accept this. And the doctrine that this devil brings, they will love it. The world of Israel as well as the world of the heathen. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, right? Verse 1. Would to the Most High ye could bear with me a little in my folly, and indeed bear with me. For I am jealous over you with godly jealousy. For I have espoused you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Hamashiach. But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your minds shall be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Hamashiach. For if he that cometh preacheth another Yahushua, whom ye have not preached, and that other Yahushua is some guy named Jesus, a white guy named Jesus, whom we have not preached, but if ye receive another spirit which ye have not received, or another gospel which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with them, because the gospel that this guy JC brings is a gospel for the world, and not the world of Israel, the natural, the Edomite world, the heathen world, right? He loves everybody. He forgives everybody's sins. This guy right here, he don't judge you. He don't care. You can come as you are with this character. You can believe in him or not. You can do whatever you want. This guy, that's another gospel. The gospel that everybody's going to be in the kingdom of heaven, living in righteousness with Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, and that's not true. Only the Israelites, the nation of Israel, starting with the elect of Israel. And this guy, he looks for fallouts. He looked for people that quit, right? He looked for people that were disenchanted, angry, and they became what? People that come against the ministry. And it's crazy because I think this guy is still in IUIC. This guy right here, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, right? But he said this guy right here, he left, his brother became an atheist, he became a Christian, and the dog turned back to his vomit. They let whatever happened with Nate in that school disenchant him. 5 attractions to Hebrew Israelism: identity, destiny, morality, theology, theodicy. What the hell is that? Theodicy. They use these $1 million words, right? Theodicy. Theodicy is a philosophical and theological attempt to defend God's goodness, power, and justice in the face of evil suffering in the world. The word comes from 2 Greek words, theos and dike. Theos is God, dike is justice. German philosopher Gottfried Leibniz coined the term in 1710 to explain why an all good and all powerful God permits bad things to happen. Because the Most High is not just all good and all good and just all powerful. He has other feelings too. He hates, he shows mercy, right? He ain't just an all love. He is all powerful, But he is all good in the sense that he's perfect. But he hates too. And he permits bad things to happen because that's in the scriptures, man. I create evil. Right? Evil is bad times. Right? Isaiah 45:7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. I, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, do all these things. The L-O-R-D in the capitals is Yahweh. I create the light and make darkness. I sing good times and bad times. I, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, am the one who does these things. It ain't Satan that's doing these things. It ain't these demons. They just got a job. They get called up and they do what they're supposed to do. But the command comes from Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Oh, Yahushua said all power is given unto him. Right? And he don't look like this. Again, the world will accept this Edomite image, this version. And that shows you where this guy's mind is. Because the Edomites will be damned if we ever have our culture back. The Edomites will be damned if we ever think ourselves more than just slaves and thugs and criminals and just a base people.
Slavery to happen. Oh, I know, because he was punishing us for idolatry, because we're the true children of Israel, and now we can learn our true identity, yada, yada, yada. You may say, well, vocab,
Yada, yada, yada.
do people ever come out of this? Yes. Now, like most cults, they don't always come out very healthy, but
This
there are
is not a cult. But
exceptions.
cult just means worship anyway. Salakia. Cult just means worship anyway.
For example, this gentleman that I'm with, the one on the far end, not the other, not the other two gentlemen. He was actually a leader for 7 years, and him and his brother left it around at the same time, and his brother became an atheist, and he became a born-again Reformed Christian, and I'm still in contact with him, and he's doing great, and he married a woman who actually also has connections to Hebrew Israelism, and they're a success case. It's a beautiful thing to see, and there are other examples. A lot of people don't.
What is going on? Is it not playing? Oh, this must be vocab. He must have put a block on it. Ain't nothing but Satan.
Him and his brother left it around at the same time, and
Salakia, brothers. I think he put a I think vocab put a he put a block on here. Salakia, brothers. The water. I'm glad I downloaded the video because he won't let you see it. This man's the devil. Ain't he the devil? He don't want you sharing his videos via he don't want you sharing his videos via screen sharing. Damn devil. VOCAB Malone. Throughout, bro. I didn't even know it was sharing his black. But that's what he does, man. This dude's a devil, man. I was playing this video right here. It was 10 hours ago, Understanding the Moors, the Nation of Islam, Israelites. I was playing this one.
same time, and his brother became an atheist, and he became a born-again Reformed Christian, and I'm still in contact with him, and he's doing great, and he married a woman who actually also...
Yeah, he does something so you can't share his videos. You got to download it. I'm not going to download his videos. He's a devil, man. This dude's a devil. And he's a slanderer, and the Lord's going to get him. Right? Anyway, 1 Thessalonians 1:6, seeing is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you, man. So the Lord paying these nations back for what they did to us, it's a righteous thing. In his justice, he will pay back those who persecute you. So these nations persecuted us. You have individuals in this nation persecuting the elect. It's a righteous thing for the Most High to do that. For after all, it is only just for the Most High to repay with distress those who distress you, man. You see? Yeah, the brother said he probably watching. He probably is. He does. He was this dude, he was following our page for a while. I don't know if he still does, but he was following our page for a while. Like you go to his community, right? You go to this community. It used to be a button on here where it show you where like channels that he follows, right? Channels that he follows. There used to be a button. Yeah. Yeah, he think he's slick. He don't want nobody to share his videos. But whatever. I showed y'all the first one that I downloaded, right? So I didn't even know. I didn't even know that he did this. Matthew 24 Bible study, members only live stream. Epic Ma sues Christian preachers. Who is Christ? Yeah, and blase, man. The destruction, And whenever a false prophet falls, they get excited because they want you to believe that all the prophets are false, and that's not true. That's not true. You have the elect men, the true men. This is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 16. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. Why is that far-fetched? Why is that so far-fetched? Because Christianity doesn't speak about nations going into captivity. They don't speak about Israelites as a national people, a nation of people, and that the Lord is still dealing with them. They made Christianity universal. It wasn't VOCAB MALONE that did that. That shit happened hundreds of years ago. They made a universal doctrine. They created a universal doctrine to fit all people, right? Therefore, but the scriptures tell you that what? All they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thy adversaries. Who are our adversaries? The nations, right? When you read the book of Psalms 80, Psalms 80, what, 83? Psalms 83. Psalms 83, it tells you what? What? For verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. Psalms 83 and 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Who are the they? The tabernacles of Edom, which is the so-called white man, starting with the banking elites. The Ishmaelites, which are the Arabs. He mentioned both of these people. And of Moab, this is the Chinese and Hagarenes, and Gabal and Ammon and Amalek. Ammon is the so-called Jews. Ammon is the so-called Japanese. Amalek is the so-called Jews. Ammon is the so-called Japanese. The Philistines, those are Hamites, and the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur, which is the Assyrians, also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, and as to Sisera, and to Jabin, and to the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth, and that's what's ultimately going to happen to the nations, mainly the nation of Edom. They're going to be brought low. They're going to be destroyed in the sense that they're not going to be powerful no more. Esau going to be wholeheartedly destroyed. After 1,000 years of slavery, he's going to be wiped off the earth, which perished at Endor. Make their nobles like the Oreb or like Zeb, all their princes as Zeba and Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of the Most High in possession. And that's what these nations have done. That look at the state of Israel now. Who's running and calling shots over there? Edom, chiefly Amalek. Oh, my power, make them like a will, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them. Here it is. This is King David telling the Lord to persecute the enemies. Why do you think any of that's going to change? And make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Yahweh Bashem Hawashai. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, not Jehovah, Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth. Okay? Right here it says, back in this is the chat. His role, this is Satan, is to accuse God's people, to point to their sins and argue against them, which accuse them day before the Most High, day and night. This emphasizes how relentless Satan's accusations are. And this is Satan works through people. Right? Just like the Most High worked through Satan and the other angels, Satan works through people on the earth. He continually seeks condemnation for God's servants. And that's what VOCAB MALONE is doing. He's seeking condemnation for the elect men. The hopeful elect. Yet immediately after this, Revelation says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. The accusations ultimately fell because the Lamb's victory and the faithful endurance of the Most High's people, looking at it in a broader context. I don't got to read all of that. Yeah. So, yeah, man, this guy, VOCAB Malone, man, he's a hater, man. He's a hater. And you see that they wouldn't even allow us to share what he was saying. But, you know, I got the video. I got a clip. I got the clip right here. An excerpt from that particular video that he was talking about. This is the latter end of it, about the minute and 37 mark. Oh, they're going to have spiritual powers. Oh, they're going to have UFOs. There they go, UFOs again. Because they don't believe in the chariots of the world. Christianity doesn't teach you about the chariots of Israel. They don't teach you about spiritual power. Right? If they do speak about it, it's a white man that did it. It had to be a white man that walked on water, that died and was resurrected by the Father, Yahweh, who they call God ignorantly. That man had to be a white man named Jesus. Right? That man had to be, the dude talking about the guy left, he left IUIC, him and his brother, and one dude became an atheist and the other dude became a Christian. Both of them niggas gonna die. They returned to their vomit. And they weren't of the elect. That's why they where they at. All right. But it's beyond belief that we're gonna be transformed into something greater than what you see. We're not gonna be confused. No longer are you going to confuse our people, the Israelites, starting with the elect, with mankind, with these other nations. You're not going to confuse us like that. Because what made us like you? Following your customs, your ways, right? Committing idolatry, committing sin and iniquity, which is breaking the Lord's law over and over and over again, man. Yahweh Shai is coming to deliver us from that. And he's coming on a chariot. There are many scriptures that speak about the chariots. Many scriptures. We can spend a whole nother hour just talking about the chariots alone. There's many scriptures that speak about spiritual powers. There's many scriptures that speak about spiritual powers. Right? Our forefathers in the ancient world started because the Lord's raising up the tabernacle of David. The house of David was like the X-Men of their day. The X-Men, the real Avengers, man. Right? They had spiritual powers and gifts. You know what I'm saying? But this guy wants you to believe that that's not the case. There's many scriptures. We could spend hours talking about how the nations are going into captivity. We spoke about some of the precepts, man, how they going to bow down, how they going to come and change, starting with the nobles, right? And who's the noble people on this earth today? Them small hats, man. It's chiefly the elite small hats. Not these. The average small hat is nothing. It's just like a Coke kick. It's like a Coke can kicking Edomite. They're nothing, but they're elite. They know what time it is. The brother GMS Barbados posted Isaiah 29:20. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off. And that's what these devils do. They watch for our iniquities. They scorn, right? That's what they do. Verse 21. That make a man an offender for the word. And that's what this guy is doing. He's making us offenders for the word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught, man. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So man, this shit is crazy, brother. This shit is crazy, man. But it's supposed to happen. VOCAB Malone, I'm not mad. He got a job to do, and so do we. And we're gonna do our job, Lord willing, and endure to the end. And so with that, we'll give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Karadash, and say shalom to the next time. May shalom.